Hello, welcome to day 67 of 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment. My name is Jason King, and welcome. If you are live with me, then leave me a comment, say hi. And if you're in a replay, then also welcome and leave a comment, post a comment, say hello. Hi, Aiden, nice to see you. Wonderful to see you here, wonderful to feel you here. Ganja, nice to see you here too. Hello, hello. Welcome this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening. I don't know if there's anyone watching me where it's evening yet. I think it's mostly Europe and the United States time zones. So it's still morning and late afternoon. Yes, late afternoon, almost evening. Hello, Alex. Nice to see you. Uh-huh. So yeah, I think I see California, Italy, and New York here with us for the live stream. Wonderful. A little slow start for me today as far as just getting into the zone, feeling into what wants to be spoken about. I'm drinking a wonderful orange LaCroix. I've gotten a LaCroix kick lately. These things are really, really tasty. Oh, it is evening. It's evening in Italy. 7 p.m. Ganja says. Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's just tune in. So I've been feeling some really heavy sensations come in around my chest today and around my head. And I've been working with a video, 741 hertz, which has been helping loosen that up because these ones seem to be very, very dense. It's hard to explain what the sensation actually, like the texture of the sensation. If I was to give it a texture, I would say wood. Like wood is the texture. Maybe even like a combination of wood, plasticky. And so that's what the sensation feels like as it's coming into my heart. So in order to give it more space to come in so that I can feel it and it turns into whatever emotional energy wants to be felt through, then I've been using this video from YouTube of 741 hertz solfeggio, which has been really supportive. So in the group 99 Days, I did post this. So this can be helpful for anyone that is feeling that with me, because oftentimes as we are feeling through some sort of heavy or dense emotional energy, we are not feeling through it alone. This is something that I've noticed. It's often that we are feeling through different parts of it collectively in a group of us. However that wants to move through us. Well, what does Aiden say? Carbon, graphite, ew, not even wood, alive metal. Exactly. It's like not even wood. It's something totally dead. like dense, very, very dense. Yeah. So I've been feeling through that. And the 741 hertz has been really helpful with that. Because it just has a way of kind of vibrating it and bringing more awareness around it. And so awareness is what dissolves these structures, what dissolves these sensations. And if we can't get awareness around it because the sensation is really dense, then finding a way to kind of vibrate around it so that we can get awareness around it and go in and through it, then that can be helpful. So I just wanted to share more around that today to just let you know that I am feeling through that, and it is quite dense. Um, and sometimes it even feels like a little bit like retchy, like, oh, I want to vomit this, but no, it wants to be felt, and so that's what's happening. And it if when I get into the emotional energy around it, let's say, mm, yeah, it's very depressive. It's like a lot of depressive thoughts. Depressive thoughts being, there's no reason for my existence. There's no reason to be here. Um, I don't know. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what the point is. It's that. It's like that same voice that speaks that says, "Oh, there's no reason for life. What am I doing here?" Which is very silly. And so that's dissolving because, I mean, why do we need that collectively anymore? What do we what do we need that voice for? What is it actually serving us? How does it serve us? Does it serve us? Does it serve us to have this idea or this feeling or this um, belief that there's no reason for my existence, that I don't have a reason for being here? Your reason for being here is inherent. It's inherent in your existence. Why would there ever need to be any reason other than that? If you are here, if you exist, then that is the reason. Why do we need to know more than that? Why does there need to be some sort of other reason? that's just that's just social programming that says that, oh, your value is based on something external to you, some sort of identity, some sort of idea. Meanwhile, what is your true value? Can we touch that? Can we touch what your value is? If I consider that my value is dependent on some sort of identity, my value is the job that I do. My value is what I bring into my family. My value is the work I do for society. My value is the relationship I have with my siblings. My value is how I take care of my children. My value is the home that I have. My value is the car that I drive. My value is the title after my name for my job. My value is how many likes I have on the most recent post I put on Facebook. My value is how many people follow me on Instagram. And so all of these ways of valuing myself are based on an identity. And when they're based on an identity, if anything shifts or changes in relationship to that identity, then the way that I feel about myself also shifts and changes. The way that I feel about myself is dependent on how others respond to me. The way that I feel about myself is dependent on the way that others view me. The way that I feel about myself is dependent on the way that others perceive me. And so when I believe that others perceive me in a negative way, and I perceive that others don't like me, and I perceive that I'm losing something that gave me value before, then naturally, what that feels like is that I'm now worthless. Oh my God, I'm losing a lover. I lost a relationship. I'm separating from my lover. And now what is my value? I feel worthless. I feel like I don't have a reason to live anymore. And the funny thing is that as soon as I believe this idea, then this idea is so common and so prevalent in so many people that as soon as I believe this idea and I begin to resonate at that idea, at the frequency of that idea, that feeling, that emotional vibration begins to resonate in me because I'm energizing that idea, then all of a sudden that idea becomes the strongest thing that I've ever felt. It crushes me. It's like the feeling of being super depressed. Just because I picked up one of them. So if I pick up that thought even once, then there's so many others that are also believing the same idea that I sync up with that becomes very heavy and overwhelming immediately. And this is one of the interesting things about how a collective works. Within a collective, if I am vibrating an idea, if I am energizing a specific idea, and that specific idea has a certain emotional frequency, as soon as I resonate that idea, then that idea also connects with everyone else who is resonating the same idea. And I begin to feel them too. So it becomes a very strong collective energy. So as soon as I believe that I'm worthless and I begin to resonate that idea, hi Celeste, nice to see you here too. So as soon as I believe that I'm worthless and I begin to resonate that idea, then that syncs up with everyone else on the planet that is believing the same thing. And I begin to feel their beliefs as well. Whether I'm conscious of that or not, I begin to feel them too. And so if I believe that idea and I'm energizing that idea because I believe it, then it can become very, very, very painful very quickly and difficult to get out from underneath that idea. Now, you see, in the case of what I'm feeling today, where I'm feeling the sensations in the body and I'm allowing those sensations to be there, and I'm bringing presence around the sensations and I'm dissolving the sensations, you'll notice that I don't believe that idea. I'm not giving any energy to that idea at all. There's no belief around it. It's just there. Okay, wonderful. But I know that that's not what I am. I am the presence and the awareness of it, but I am not the idea itself. And so that's what allows the idea to dissolve within me. As that idea hits me, it dissolves within me rather than sticking around. And it can take time to dissolve, especially when we're talking about something that's very dense, like the feeling of not having a reason to live anymore. That can take time to dissolve. But if I don't believe it, if I don't give it any energy, then it will dissolve. It will pass. It always does. So in this case, what I'm feeling is collective energy and it's dissolving into me. And we're all feeling collective energy all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not. We're all feeling what everyone is thinking all the time. And so this is where it gets challenging to say, okay, well, I'm feeling the collective all the time. And this is true. And if I pick up an idea that the collective is believing, then all of a sudden I am syncing up with that belief. And then it becomes very strong within my body. And I begin to feel that very strong. And it feels as if it's my belief, and it feels as if it is very personal. And then it becomes very difficult to get out from under it because it is all about me. Meanwhile, it didn't have anything to do with you in the first place. It's just a collective energy that is showing up, that wants to be felt, that wants to be met. So it was never personal to begin with. But as soon as you picked it up and made it personal, then it became personal to you. And when it became personal to you, then you synced up with everyone else in the collective that is believing that it's personal and that it's about them. And then you're amplifying that energy. You're amplifying that idea and that belief. You're making it stronger for everyone. And so this is what we call ignorance. And ignorance affects everyone. It affects the entire collective. So you see what I'm illustrating here. What I'm illustrating here is that you are always feeling the collective. You're never not feeling the collective. You are always feeling the collective. And so the moment that you pick up a collective energy that the collective is feeling through, and you make it personal and you make it about you, then you step into ignorance. And when you step into ignorance, then you begin to amplify that energy that really just wants to be met. That's what it wants. It really just wants to be felt through so that it can dissolve. But as soon as you begin to pick it up and make it personal, then you begin to amplify that energy. And as you amplify that energy, then everyone in the collective is feeling that because you're believing it. And when you believe it, your mind is that powerful that everyone in the collective is feeling what you're believing. So if you're believing that you're separate from everyone else, and you're believing that you don't have a reason for living, then everyone in the collective is feeling that. And you're cutting yourself off from everyone in the collective, and everyone in the collective then gets pulled into that drama that you're playing out in your mind, which is not true. It's just a story that you're telling yourself. It's a story that you're telling yourself that I don't have a reason for living. I don't have a reason for being here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to live anymore. And that's just a story. So you can drop that idea and then you can see, oh wow, my value is inherent. I exist, so therefore I have value. I don't have to base my value on what anyone else thinks about me. I don't have to base my value on what I feel. I don't have to base my value on what this mind is thinking. I don't have to base my value on thought. Inherent is my value. That means that my value is based on the fact that I exist, and obviously I exist, so therefore I have value. So any idea that comes up that says, oh, you're valueless because of this, this, or this, can be met immediately with the truth, which is my value is that I exist and I exist. So therefore, no idea that says anything negative at all has any leg to stand on. It's unbelievable. It cannot be believed. How can you believe an idea that says something that is so untrue when you know and you can feel that your value is the fact that you exist? And it doesn't need to be any more complex than that. It is that simple. So any of these collective beliefs that are coming up that everyone is getting pulled into, they don't have any room, they don't have any space in your consciousness to hold on to. They have nothing to hook into because you know that your value is that you exist. I exist. That is all there is. Nothing more than that. So anything else that comes up and says, oh, you have no value, you're worthless because of this, is ridiculous. It's laughable. It is a joke. It cannot be believed. It is totally ludicrous. It is unbelievable. And this is your ticket out of energizing all of this collective gunk. You no longer have to do it. You don't have to believe it. It's not about you. It's not true. You don't need anything to have value. You don't need a purpose. Your purpose is that you exist. There's nothing more than that. And so by recognizing first your value, then that any idea that says anything that's different than that is completely unbelievable, then you're no longer pulled into the collective drama. You're no longer pulled into ignorance. You're no longer amplifying that story. You're free. That's freedom right there. That is your ticket to freedom. See it. Recognize it clearly. And so, yes, you still will feel the collective. That doesn't go away, ever. I mean, you can give up the body and then it will dissolve. Sure. But that's not the idea here. The idea here is to embody. And so how do you embody? By being what you are. So someone might ask, well, where do all these energies that the collective is meeting, where do they come from? And based on my vision, they come from nothing. They don't mean anything at all. When I feel into them, I could say, oh, this is ancestral trauma. This comes from our ancestors. This comes from someone who lived before. But even that doesn't really explain what it's doing here and now, because there is no time. So the best answer is that it doesn't come from anything. Because if I'm giving it ideas, if I'm giving it energy that says that there's a past here, that there's ancestors here, then that's one step removed from what is now. That's moving into imagination further. So the simplest answer is always the best one, if we're going to use Occam's razor. It makes the most sense. It's just right here, right now. Okay, there's ideas here. Wonderful. I don't need to know where they come from. But what I do know is my worth. What I do know is what I am. And what I am is I exist. That's all. Nothing more than that. I exist, obviously. That's what I can always go to. Everything pings that. I exist. Boom. And so I don't need anything else. Nothing more than that. And everything can be met with that. Because if the idea shows up that says, oh, well, you're worthless because you don't have a job. Okay. You can tell me that if you want to, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it because my worth isn't dependent on anything external to me. It's not dependent on external circumstances. It's not dependent on what I feel. It's not dependent on how I look. It's not dependent on this body. It's not dependent on anything that has to do with anything that I perceive. What is my worth? That I exist, period. Nothing more than that. And so now this gives me the ability to be with any idea, any belief that may show up, anything that the collective might be believing or running, and I don't believe it. There's no belief around it. I don't believe that. And so because I don't believe it, my consciousness does not hook into it. It does not believe that story. I am completely awake and free. There is no ignorance. I don't believe that. Why would I ever believe something so ridiculous? So nothing that the mind has to say is believable. Nothing at all. Because every idea that comes up is some idea that's limiting me into some sort of nonsense. It's limiting me into playing some sort of a role that doesn't feel good. So why would I believe that? I wouldn't. So this doesn't free me from feeling what the collective is feeling with the collective. But what it does free me from is believing in the collective nonsense. I would never believe something like that. You see, and this is freedom. That's all there is. I don't need to be free from feeling what the collective is feeling because it doesn't have anything to do with me anyway. It's just there in the space of me. So if there's a part of me that wants to play that out, that wants to believe that still, wonderful. That's okay. It's the self doing that. Can you feel how light this is? It's super light because there's no energy going into the idea. So any idea that shows up, any idea at all, is not believed because I immediately look at what is true. I exist. And then the idea, being unbelievable, dissolves, it drops away. And so imagine if all of us who are watching this video, all of us who are connected with each other and are actually moving deeper in embodiment are proficient at this, are skilled at this. If we can very, very easily see that no idea is true and what is true, I exist. So that everything lightens easily, all on its own, effortlessly, then all of the collective, which is still energizing these ideas and these beliefs that are so heavy, that are so painful, all of them begin to feel the lightness that we are feeling. And as they begin to feel that lightness that we are feeling, and as these ideas dissolve into the space of us, then collectively we begin to pop out of a very dense nightmare. Effortlessly, this happens. And it happens simply because you are deciding to see what is true. And you're no longer pulled into energizing the ideas that the collective is playing out. Boom. That's all there is. You popped out of it completely. There is no more nightmare for you. You are here, you are now, and you are completely free of the nightmare. So welcome. Welcome to Heaven on Earth. It's right here, now. You're it. Thank you for joining. So I will see you tomorrow for day 68. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful, wonderful life in this freedom. This freedom which knows nothing at all, which is always here. The only thing it knows is that I exist. And this is not knowing anything at all. Stay in this freedom. Enjoy. You're welcome, Ganja. See you tomorrow. And for anyone on a replay, I love you. For anyone who's here with me now, I love you. I love you all so very deeply, so very much. Bye-bye now.